Presence. What is this presence? A person, thing that exists or is present in a place but not seen. And then the other definition I grabbed was the impressive manner or appearance of a person. And we've got cognitive, relating to the process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and the senses. Cognitive abilities. This would cover attention, memory, logic and reasoning, perception, language, and executive functions. Basically, the ability to focus while resisting distraction, store, restore, retain, and logically recall, think and solve problems with facts and data, the ability to use and understand spoken and written language, and planning, organizing, design making, and emotional self-regulation, decision making, and practicing through just the basic senses: sight, hearing, smelling, tasting, feeling, will over time enhance into the more woo-woo abilities we all have available. Over-emotionality is what will age the bodies the quickest. It is the loss of the abilities through a lack of practice. Endurance through strength training produces the amount of pressure and adaptability the body needs. I'm highlighting needs for internal self-regulation. True, detailed strength training provides physical backbone, which translates to mental backbone, which is courage, and spinal alignment. The state of encouragement. The environment for this idea of I am to be fully embodied through the physicality. Exercising within all planes of motion with a strong meditation on the executive functions of the movements and the body. Specific detailed form, mental, so basically like really strict form and specifically cued to fully engage the whole body. Mental and physical cues to stay true to as our foundation of strength. External cues are now a need in the gym for people. They need people to tell them they're doing it correctly. They need the opposite gender or anybody technically to be like looking at them, watching them, co-regulating them through the sets. Everyone, not just some people. It's like maybe one person is working out on their own without external validation to jump their sets. This is why I'm so adamant on internal validation, internal drive, and regulation during the movements as well as outside of them. They are foregoing their autonomy through the resistance to their actualization of self. They are regulated by the outside. This didn't used to be a thing. Everyone kind of like, when you look in the mirror, you look at yourself, you look at your form, you look at your body, what it's doing. But now it's the eyes are looking around the room. Everyone around the person who's doing the lift is like judging their form out loud or, saying, oh, good job, or like acting sexy for them to get them motivated, or opposite, acting sexy, like with somebody else, whatever. It's so silly. All cognitive functions are offline. This is why a lot of the youth are aging so quickly. Well, everyone for that matter. Basically, everyone is aging faster. The disembodiment while watching misfortune has them operating out of an unknowingly destructive form of PTSD. Of course, through socialization as well. Everyone is malfunctioning without an importance to the body's mental, physical strength. Mental to physical to emotional strength. To overcome the weight of the world, basically. As I've said before. Once the body is discharged, the mind will search for outside sources of control, depending on their nature, dominant versus submissive. Neutral. Oh my goodness. Dominant versus submissive, or a neutral stance with discernment. of other, or is chosen for the regulation, outsourced power, a automatic push-pull dynamic is created. Basically, you know, like the runner-chaser dynamic, where one person like chases the other person. Push-pull. So basically, if we aren't doing an active push-pull in the movement, is what I'm trying to tell you, is like the dynamics that we play out internally to externally with people, they're going to be push-pull, and they're going to be hot-cold. Because that's what the body's also running on, like cold blood or steaming hot blood. There's no like warm-blooded people out there anymore. Basically, they're neglecting their push-pull. So like in a bicep curl, you would pull the weight down with the tricep, allowing the bicep to stretch, right? And then you would pull it up with the bicep. A lot of people will just drop the weight, or just like not even think about the stretch and just come back up. Also not even externally rotate. So all these things mentally have to play out somehow, and it's going to be in the dynamics that they're creating, which is going to build the integrity or not of the person, how healthy the relations can remain, or work their way into, I guess. Let's see. There are many cues that keep the lifter present, which requires also a specific state of mind, nurtured by rest and digest. Rest and digest would be, like rest would be a calm state, and then digest would be like observation of the movement. This is where the sense of feeling would be utilized in practice. Mental constructs of feelings, like emotions, must be dismantled, or over time the body goes numb even with training on deck. So consistent training won't keep you from going numb. Like facts over feelings, like these ideas. Feeling physically into the body is knowing how it is feeling emotionally. The sensors for contracting are felt or not. This is how the sensors for contracting are felt or not, originally in the hands and feet. So there's like a lot of beliefs that a lot of men have about, you know, like emotions and like feeling, and it actually runs into the mentality and the tapping into the sense of feeling into the body, which is why most men are completely dysregulated and they need their girlfriend or wife to regulate them emotionally, which they would never admit. They will never admit it, but it's all happening everywhere, like even out in public. But women are now becoming this way too. All dependent on the strength of our might. How strong our contractions are based on how strong our might is kept, which is in our grip. And our will, which is stolen in push and pull and dominant versus submissive roles. Controlling dynamics have the bodies to minds dismantling their own fruitage of self-control, which is the driver for physical movement. This is the reasoning for the bowing of heads and the inability to merely get up off the floor. Basically, like, you know, you'll have conversations. I've had conversations with people, and because of how they emotionally handle themselves, they're completely disempowered by the time the conversation's over. And they can't even get up off the floor physically. Like, they don't have the strength to get up off the floor because they feel so weak because of how they're processing their feelings, which is causing old age. Like, that's the sign right there. Like, that's the beginning of it. Like, that's the first sign right there. You're out of power. Energetic leaks, mentally to physically, must be aligned and filled, or the death program continues running. To truly energetically stay fueled, to keep the body in a state for physical progression, to conduct the electricity the body needs to rejuvenate and cleanse the body of toxins, to repair and replenish of any leaks. Dysregulation must be outtrained through tapping in many times a day physically, which starts mentally, contracting and or flexing to maintain connection, along with how you're actually feeling throughout the day, the body itself. Like, let's say, for instance, you're in traffic and you're like getting annoyed and you start yelling. Basically, you're dysregulated, and it is an expression, but the body itself is dysregulated. This assists when under actual pressure. Basically, the ability to contract your muscles not only is a stress reliever, but also connects you to your body when it's time to go under the weight and for the sets, or during your core work that's being practiced, which I definitely advise to be doing daily. Inhaling being the main focus, and through the breath, we fuel the mechanics of the body. Tempo control, matching the inhales to the stretch inhales to the contraction. So basically on the stretch, we're inhaling with our core tight the whole time, a deep breath in, and then an exhale with the exertion part of the movement. The timing of the breath is what's going to conduct the power and electricity in the body for the movement. Proximity to our body while at the gym is extremely important. We have to be able to basically internally see ourselves, internally to externally. The average eye takes about 10 to 15 minutes to fully meditate back into the body. Where the eyes go, the mind goes. Which bring me to blood flow. Because of the gyms being ran basically like brothels. Oh my gosh. The focus and blood flow, I believe, are being hijacked by all and everyone watching. To 2 or 3 in the room that are men, oftentimes acting sexual for everyone in the room. The 3 women acting sexual for the men in the room. This process used to be more private and not on physical display, where the others in the room literally watch and adrenalize through the sets, oftentimes due to their highly sadistic nature, making fun of people in order to get off sexually, which this feeling is used as fuel. Basically, adrenaline is fueling their sets, thus leaving blood flow in specific areas, like their private parts. Yeah, I mean, men are in there like literally grabbing their junk. Women are touching their vaginas for attention, to get people off. Literally, like, all over the place. This is why I think that the women have, like, puffy downstairs. Like, you'll see that now. Like, their vaginas are full of blood, I believe. But we're on the topic, of, like, private parts. The women are actually some getting, surgeries on their vagina, their private parts, because they haven't been aligning their body, which throws like all their downstairs parts out of alignment and to protrude forward, like come forward. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there because it's serious, and I would I couldn't imagine getting a vagina surgery for something so stupid and in my control. Anyway, leaving them puffy looking. Oh my god. Attention adrenalizes the body. It does, though, have the body ready to fight off a bear if needed. They're adrenalized enough to fight off a bear if needed. So they're in survival mode, basically. Not in rest and digest. Maintaining a balanced, regulated system through the cues that are embedded. Higher numbers in weight are not needed when weight is fully utilized through tempo control. We regulate the system. Through tempo control, we regulate the system. Instead of using force, we guide with self-control. with full deep breaths down to the bottom of the spine and back up. And also like focusing in on like the breath going to the muscles that you're working. No chest or mouth breathing. Core stacked through the joint alignment from head to toe. Also, consistent stagnancy of the mind, a lack of daily learning, will have us at a loss of feeling into the body. Every mind retains and learns differently. Feeling into the body for regulation guidance is different. Feeling into the body for regulation guidance and strength is different than emotional. Like being emotional. Different than emotionally expressing. We want to express life with self-control. Life and the lift with self-control. A fast process of functions that would be the body with a slow expression of the rep. That would be the body with a slow expression of the rep. What I'm trying to say is we want to, through training specifically, create a process that is quick, like a quick process of how the body is feeling, like a quick tap in and a quick regulate, so then we can express the reps with clarity and like precision. The quality of rep is determined by the focus and harvested power, which is all done in our relations and how others as well as ourselves speak and think, how clear our cognitive abilities stay preserved. Through aiming for deeper feeling expressed, physical feeling in the body. Basically, we want to challenge how deep we go into the sets and the reps to tap into the feeling of the internal body, but also into the muscles, they're contracting, how they're contracting, just the mechanics of the body and how it's functioning as well. This is going to teach presence. This all teaches presence. Which may, but doesn't have to come through emotions built up in the system. Meaning we can utilize any feelings that come up while we're exercising, if we have this quick process, that is, that you create yourself through practice. The goal is to preserve the body, so that would be maintaining strength through self-control and just controlling the weight in general. So again, that push-pull. That push-pull, if utilized, it might cut the weight down in half that you're utilizing, but you're actually utilizing all the weight and preserving your body, your joints, and your nervous system, your spine, everything. The more often we process, the more serious interactions. So basically, how we process the interactions we have is going to determine how strong of a connection we have with our bodies too. So the more often we process, the more serious interactions with people, the cleaner we can initially choose the most regulated expression of what we have to say. So through creating this quick process of emotions when we're training will help us in our actual interactions, so that we can process emotions quicker and have a more regulated expression of what we have to say. When we don't think about our interactions there is no directional change directed by the self through our own emotions, which leads to a loss of self-control during the practice of our day-to-days with others, leading to a desire which becomes a need to control the other. A lack of direction through not speaking to ourselves about our interactions, whether that be in our head or out loud. So basically, at the end of the day, consulting with yourself about how you conducted your interactions. So we do want to consult with ourselves, but preferably in private. There are some times when things are going on out in public where I will say what I think out loud. But that's with intention. So yeah, in private and at the end of every day, I would say. Some people will tell you not to talk to yourself. And I think it's subjective and it depends on the situation and what you're doing it for. So we lose integrity when our voice is suppressed. We can regulate very well when we learn to taper and monetize our expression. A quick, well-trained processing of emotion, to me, is a need of ours we need to meet. The expression is what is slower in nature. Some say that going over like conversations that you've had with people or even text messages, it becomes overthinking, and it can be, but I think it is definitely like a serious tool that I've always used to kind of see myself like in the situation when I'm not in the moment. You're not emotional and you can process like what happened. You know, you remember things that happened that you weren't aware of in the moment because so many things happen in interactions sometimes. So the only way to get better in interactions emotionally is to consult yourself and what has, come about. That's how we practice. So people are under the impression that slow is good when we're interacting and processing emotions. I think it's good to a degree, maybe when you're on your own. Like, we don't really want to be processing emotions slowly when we're interacting. We want to be thinking sharp, thinking quick, like on our feet. So we don't respond negatively, or like out of proportion or demeaningly. So the next it says, validate thyself with reason. When we meet our own foundational needs, we become less needy. Like if a potential client bails out with excuses like, I need to ask my husband, LOL, or something like that. Like I used to have clients that would like set up time to meet and like they would bail and it would be so annoying. I think society as a whole need like practice with rejection. I know owning my own business and even working for companies, nobody takes any job seriously in the service industry, so they're not even learning the lessons they need to learn because every company has a hierarchy system they're being ran by, like true hierarchy, like everybody, and it's different than it used to be. Like, I don't remember a hierarchy back in the day when I was working, honestly. We were all friends, we were a family, we were a team when we were on, like, I don't know, maybe the gyms are different, but not now. It's all one for one and one for all. Like, there's no there's co-emotional regulation, but there's no co-creation. The reason why there's push-pull dynamics, hot-cold dynamics, is because everyone's fear of rejection. And so they basically are demeaning first so that they aren't the first one to be rejected. Personal training taught me so very much about rejection. For that, I am so grateful. The foundational skill of self-emotional regulation being met is key. Again, the expression's speed and accuracy is determined by the speed and accuracy of the emotional processing. Knowing how to keep your frame and internal higher good vibration and or state and or mood and or met needs by me. So, and that's all. Thank you.